Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone. This is Christina, and you've tuned in to Escape to the Finger Lakes. And I am so excited to kick off my year with these podcasts with one of my favorite guests, somebody who obviously has been on the show a few times, Paul Thomas from the Seneca Lake Wine Trail. Hi, Paul.
Hello, Christina. Thanks for having me and keeping it lively.
Oh, yeah.
Trying.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. You know, it's a new year. I'm feeling, like I'm just diving in. We have so much to talk about, so much to do this year. I think it's going to be an exciting year for the Finger Lakes, just knowing where we have been and where we're going, and I think we have good stuff to come. Don't you agree?
Oh, for sure. Lots of great stuff to come. And it is funny how Glenda, my colleague and my office manager here at the trail, were talking recently about how, it used to be, it seemed like you'd get this nice little some breathing space after the holidays because, the wineries, everyone assumes are relatively quiet, and people think, there's no events going on. Well, that is definitely not the case now. We hit the ground running when the new year hits.
It is amazing. I actually heard a few wineries along a few different of the lakes. They were saying that they were really busy the week between Christmas and New Year's. And typically, I do think that we've all been used to this, like there's a lull. It's kind of like, okay, we can breathe a little bit. We don't mind some customers. Of course, we want them to come, but it's never been so busy. And I think it's just a sign of the times, and that the region is super popular, and I think it's great and exciting, and I love it. Come and visit.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, but of course, speaking of which, winter travel, a lot of people we still get many calls a day, I'm sure you do too, into the office. Are you open? Are the wineries?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? I think it's, being in the industry like we are, we're obviously aware of the fact that, overwhelming majority of the wineries are literally open 360 plus days out of the year.
Absolutely.
And, but how many people still, they call up and they start to, they like the trail, they love our wineries, and they've maybe come here several times, but they still have this perspective, this belief that it's like 20 years ago, and the wineries are only open in the summertime.
Right. Yeah, and it couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, I think that the winter months are some of the best times to come and visit. It's, the wineries are cozy, great time to get some one-on-one attention, more educational, and you can there's still going to be people there and everything, but I do think that just there is going to be less of a crowd than there is in, say, July through October, but it's still, they're open, they want you to come, and you can really take advantage of some cool experiences.
Well,
when it's so busy.
And the other thing I remind folks is that during this time of year, and I'm not even going to call it the off season anymore. During this time of year, the the owners, frankly, don't tend to be. In the summertime and the fall, they're out in the field, they're out in the vineyards, they're working.
Right.
Gene Pierce is on a tractor driving around, the owner of Lenora. But this time of year, it is admittedly not as much chores for them to be doing, and their seasonal staff aren't on board. So you're much more likely to catch, owners, vineyard managers, cellar, the people that had their hands making the wine, not to say that the seasonal staff, tasting room staff aren't also perfectly cool, interesting, and informed individuals, but it is sometimes really neat for folks, I think, to get to meet the human being, behind the wine.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's what's the beauty of this type of year. You never know who you're going to run into. It's definitely a great time to come because it is just a little quieter and you can enjoy that individualized attention. So, and with all of your member wineries, I'm sure that the majority of them are open 7 days a week this time of year.
Most of them are. I would say, though, this time of year, the weekend still would be when we're really overwhelming majority are open. Some of them maybe are closed a few days in the middle of the week.
Right.
But a lot of them are open 7 days a week for sure, like I said earlier. But there are, admittedly, in the wintertime weekdays, it tends to be a little quieter. Now, we do have some programming during the next several months on the second Wednesday of each month, which is Winemaker Wednesdays.
Ooh.
When it's all listed up on our website, but it's like really, really much more customized experiences as a means to try and help bring more people, remind people that we're open. We're open in the wintertime, and give them something to do in the middle of the week, rather than the many, many things that they have to do on the weekend.
Right. No, that's awesome. And is it free? Is there a cost? Is there tickets?
Yeah, it varies. There's no ticket. It's all managed by individual wineries that have volunteered to participate. In some instances, there may be a modest fee, and other times it may be free. And it oftentimes will involve things like barrel tastings, or doing things in the cellar with the cellar manager, for example. And I'm trying to call up, and then sometimes it might be a vertical flight of wines. I think maybe some wineries are talked about presenting wine paired, like the Riesling, say, wine alongside Riesling juice as a means for people to kind of experience, what does the juice taste like? Because it's not something that people typically do experience.
Right.
So it's a lot of neat little unique kind of experiences like that. It's always the second Wednesday. In many instances, you have to call for reservations.
Okay.
In some instances, it may be the same program. So, like J.R. Dill Winery, for example, is going to be for all the Winemaker Wednesdays, they're going to be presenting unreleased reds for people to sample.
Cool.
He'll be the first to be trying these outside, obviously, of the winemaker himself. And then others, like Lakewood, have got specific different experiences on those different Wednesdays. So there might be barrel samples one month. There might be going out into the vineyards themselves and assessing, going right out there with Dave Stamp of Lakewood, the vineyard manager, and looking at the vines and seeing if there was damage done or what trimming has to maybe occur as a result. Yeah. So really in-depth kind of experiences.
So is there more information on your website about Winemaker Wednesdays?
Yes, there is. Yep.
Wonderful. So that's SenecaLakeWine.com for information, and tons more information on the Seneca Lake Wine Trail on that website as well. And one of the great promotions that you have coming up is Bargain Bash. And I know I love a good deal. I love a sale. So this is perfect for me, and I'm sure there's many people out there looking for this same experience.
Yeah, we've been doing this every year for I don't know how many years, a lot of years, frankly.
Yeah.
And so the wineries are really in the zone or in the groove with it now. And it's basically, it runs from Saturday, January 7th through, I think, Saturday or Sunday of the following week, like around the 14th or so, or the 15th rather. And with Bargain Bash, that's an opportunity for the wineries to kind of get rid of some inventory. And in many instances it might be wine, in some instances it may be other kinds of stuff in their tasting room. It's just a year-end kind of closing out of year-end stuff to try and clear out the shelves for more product next year, or this year now. And so that also is listed up on our website with lots of the specific deals that the different wineries are offering, just stipulated as well.
Great. And, of course, this time of year you also offer the Polar Passport. I know this has become very popular. Of course, you have the Riesling to Visit Passport in the spring and summer months, but this is kind of like the winter cousin of that, and the Polar Passport is now available through March? Yes. The Polar Passport is valid through the end of March, and it's a little booklet, just a simple little booklet. People can buy it. It's $12 plus tax, so about $13 total. And they can purchase them online through our website, or if they plan on coming out soon, they can just buy them at one of the participating wineries that sells them. Okay. And the neat thing about the Polar Passport, there's 25 participating wineries, and it enables visitors to have the tasting fee at those participating wineries waived one time each. And so what's great about it is that it enables, our hope with it, our intent with it, is to facilitate and encourage people to check out some new wineries without having to think about, I don't want to, I don't know about that winery. I've never heard of that winery. I don't want to spend $2 or $3 on tasting fees. Honey, let's just, let's go to the one we know about. This hopefully makes it so that people will say, what the heck? It's not going to cost us anything. We got the passport. Let's swing by and, check out this winery we've never heard of. And it's just amazing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that people like to go back. They have loyalty to certain wineries. Right, of course. That's a beautiful thing. Of course, we love that. But by the same token, it is really profound as we get more and more wineries, literally every quarter of each year, how many new ones are out there to try, and how some of these smaller, newer wineries especially, you can't buy their wine anyplace else. True. And there's so many new ones, and all offering a different experience, a different, of course, different wines and different merchandise and everything, but it's all a different experience and getting to know different people. And I think every winery you go to, you learn more about wine, your preference in wine, and just the experience of the wine world and that entire different way of thinking about, beverages. So it's
exactly.
It's so neat.
And the other good thing about it, particularly for people who live within a reasonable drive of Seneca Lake, is you can use a passport across multiple weekends. It doesn't have to be all used up in one day, for example.
Right.
So it's great, someone from Rochester, Syracuse, Ithaca, Binghamton, whatever, you can come up on a Sunday afternoon with your passport, visit 4 or 5 wineries and make a day of it, head back home, come up a couple of weeks later, or bring over when your cousin visits for, whatever holiday, you can take up your friends and family and visit them and, burn off a few more of the participating wineries in the passport. And it's a neat way to explore it.
That's perfect. That's great. And again, you can find the Polar Passport at participating wineries. You can also purchase it in advance through the website.
Yeah, the one thing we really stress to people is with the timing of it. You're welcome. Yeah. They are welcome to order online. There's no additional fees or anything like that if they order it online, but they have to order it significantly in advance of when they're getting here. Because we process the order pretty quickly, but it can take 2, maybe even 3 weeks for the post office to get the passport pushed around. So we just oftentimes, so if people are coming up in the next week or two, we just tell them, just go to one of the participating wineries and pick them up when you get here, and many of them have well stocked with those passports.
That makes sense. Good deal. So, and speaking of other events coming up in the future, you guys have events that take place in these winter and spring months that are, once a month you have a themed weekend and you have tickets available for those. So can we kind of walk through a few of these that maybe...
for sure. Yeah, the next one coming up actually is just in a couple of weeks, a week and a half even. It's a pasta and wine weekend. It runs from Friday afternoon from 1 to 5 on January 13th, and then Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5. So it's the 13th to the 15th. The tickets are valid for all 2.5 days. General tickets are $30 a person. They're valid for all 2.5 days, though obviously, you don't have to come for 2.5 days, but certainly people can do so. And there's, I think, right around 30 participating wineries, 28 somewhere in there. And the wineries cook up these, they really put a lot of the wineries put a ton of effort into designing these recipes, that pasta-themed recipes, and then pairing up, determining which wine pairs effectively. And some wine, Atwater, I know is one in particular, as well as many others, that will make up, maybe half a dozen different pasta dishes, and break out a couple dozen different kinds of wines, and have the whole staff. What a hard job, right?
What a tough job.
I know. Have the whole staff sit down and test everything out and do different pairings and combinations until they all can settle on one that really, really sings.
Right. That's great. Love it. So pasta and wine, that's coming up this month.
Exactly. Yep, January 13th to the 15th. Tickets are available for that event, as are all events, are all available online at SenecaLakeWine.com. And with our migration to e-ticketing now, we don't even bother mailing them anymore. You just pick your tickets up at your starting winery. Great deal.
So, and then in February, I know you have a very popular event as well.
Yes, Chocolate and Wine Weekend, which runs February 10th through the 12th. Same operating hours as the Pasta and Wine Weekend. It's Friday afternoon from Friday afternoon from 1 to 5, and Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 5. It is, of course, not coincidental that it is positioned very close to Valentine's Day, obviously. Right. And as I tell people, I don't know about you, but, and now I'm probably betraying my age here, I personally am not so keen on buying stuff for people anymore.
Right.
A lot of people I know have got plenty of stuff. So I like to think of this event, the Chocolate and Wine Weekend, as a great experience where you're building memories with a loved one. And so, sure, it's all well and good that, maybe you get a loved one a diamond necklace or if someone were to get me a circular saw or something, that'd be nice. But really but the experience is what it's all about, is building memories together. And this event is perfect for that. And the wineries, so people know too, they make chocolate-themed dishes. So it's not that you're getting a little widget of chocolate per se at each of these participating wineries. They're making chocolate-themed dishes, and one popular one that I never get bored talking about because it's so weird to me, at any rate, is the chocolate chili that they make at Fulkerson, which is really popular. And I don't know how they do it, but it is delicious. I'll be the first to admit it. It just sounds so counterintuitive.
It is. It is. But, hey, you know what? That's why these events are great, because you can get inspired with these recipes. And then a lot of the times the recipes are available, whether online or they have a book, and you can actually go and impress your friends and do the wine pairing, and you're just so cool.
Oh, well, yeah. All of our events have recipe books. They're not all released right now, but as we get closer to each event, they get released digitally or, like you said, in a booklet form. And so, it's a great opportunity. If you get that combination, and again, for people who've not experienced it, I'm sure many of your listeners have, but for those who've not experienced a dynamic pairing of wine and food, it's a classic case of the sum of the parts being greater than the whole. Is that the cliche? Something like that. But basically, it's better than what you'd think it would be. And so you've got the recipe. So you experience a dynamic pairing. You've got the recipe you can download or print out, and you can buy a couple bottles of that wine and then take it back and share it with friends and family alike.
I love it. Great idea. And so then, really quickly before we wrap up, and you have three more events, I guess, that happen through the duration of the year. Can you just give us like really quick synopsis of each of those, and then we'll wrap it up here? Yep,
we got in late March, from March 23rd to the 25th, we got Cruise in the Tropics, which is a tropically themed wine and food pairing weekend to help break people out of the winter doldrums. And then at the end of April, and that incidentally is co-sponsored by our friends at the Elmira Corning Regional Airport this year. And there'll be a giveaway of tickets, round-trip tickets to Florida. The end of April 27th to the 29th, we have the Spring Wine and Cheese Weekend. Self-evident what that is. That's co-sponsored by our friends at McAdam and Cabot Cheese Cooperatives, which are regional, statewide kind of cooperatives of cheese manufacturers, dairy farmers. And then at the beginning of June 8th to the 10th, we got the Smokin' Summer Kickoff, which is more grilling kind of themed dishes paired with wine as a jump into the summertime.
That sounds great. And you know what? I feel like June is just worlds away, and it's so not. It's going to be.
I know it's going to be here before we know it. I know.
Well, great. Thank you so much for joining me today, Paul.
Thank you, Christine. Always have a good time on the show.
Absolutely. And so, again, for more information on any of the events, the Polar Passport, or even the Bargain Bash that are happening in this month, you can visit SenecaLakeWine.com for more information. And, again, we hope everyone is off to a great start this new year, and we'll be back next week with more great information on all that is to come in 2012 in wine country. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Christina. Take care.